is the Eastman T486B. It has a maple laminate body, a maple neck with an ebony fingerboard with a 12-inch radius, and it also has a bone nut. The scale length is 24.75 inches, and it also comes with two Seymour Duncan Fat Cat HSP90 pickups and a licensed Bigsby vibrato. And you're right, it's gorgeous.
Hey guys, in an effort to get more content out there, I'm trying to get my reviews to be a little bit shorter, so I'm going to be breaking things up a little bit more going forward. Typically when I review a guitar or something, I'll do a full tone test and give a review, give my thoughts on who wants to play it, etc. This time, I'm just going for giving a demo of the sound and telling you how I feel about the guitar and giving you the specs. Soon enough, I'll put out something on the Seymour Duncan Fat Cats that come with this Eastman T486, and I'm pretty pumped about doing that. I also have Fat Cat in my Player Series Telecaster, and I'll put that out there as well, just so you can get an A/B of different types of guitars. But what we're trying to do today is we're trying to talk about this guitar itself. You heard it in the intro. Not everybody's going to be using this guitar for higher gain, blues recordings or anything like that, but there's a lot you can do with it. And you can see that from the intro. This guitar is the Eastman T486B. The B stands for Bigsby. They also make another one that doesn't have the Bigsby on there, but I've always wanted a guitar with a Bigsby, and I thought my first semi-hollow body guitar would be a good place to start. This guitar is obviously going to be a competitor to the Gibson ES335, and to a lesser extent, some of the Epiphone guitars, the Epiphone 335, the 339, etc. This is 16 inches wide, whereas with some of the other Epiphones and the Gibsons, such as the 339, you're going to have a smaller body. As such, this guitar is pretty big and pretty heavy, which was surprising to me because the other guitar that I have, which is a full hollow, is actually an Epiphone Casino, and it's much, much lighter than this. And that is the only negative thing you will hear me say about this guitar, if you can even call that negative, because it's got a big block of wood in it, and so it's going to weigh a little bit more. This guitar, if you look it up on Reverb, you can find it anywhere from $1,300 to $1,500, brand new. It's got an ebony fingerboard, which just feels absolutely fantastic. The guitar is solid. Now, some people might have heard in the intro specs that it's got a laminate top. The laminate top is laminate in the sense of it's made from many pressed together pieces of maple, leading it to being a stronger body. A Gibson ES335 is also a laminate top. So this isn't some cheaper piece of wood that you're getting that they don't do in the higher echelon of products. And so it's still a fantastic guitar, despite hearing the word laminate in there. I know people think of just pieces of plywood that are screwed together, getting shipped over from Indonesia. These guitars are handmade in China, which is a confusing concept because, a lot of the time people associate Chinese or East Asian made guitars with being, cheaply made, only done by CNC, and put together, by machines in some fashion. These are not. Eastman has most of their guitars made in China, but they are put together in an assembly line fashion, and handmade. So, it's an interesting thing there, getting a guitar that's made overseas, but also put together by hand. And you can tell by the fit and finish and the design of the guitar. I got this one from a shop called Sunrise Guitars in Fayetteville, Arkansas, who is an Eastman dealer. I got it off Reverb. They set it up for me, and everything about it is in great shape. And I appreciate those guys at Sunrise Guitars for putting something together so well. The pickups, it comes stock with Seymour Duncan pickups, which, I think is a great deal for a $1,400 guitar. And a bone nut, that's something that typically, unless you're going for really high-end guitars, you're going to get a Tusk or a cheaper plastic nut for things that are sub $1,000. The Bigsby, which is different to me because I'm coming from having played on a Strandberg or a Floyd Rose or a typical floating bridge that you would find in a Strat. It's a different feel. It functions really well. The guitar stays in phenomenal tune for it being a Bigsby. and I couldn't be happier with that. The tuners function really well. Everything turns perfectly. You don't have big gaps in between points at which it tunes slightly versus tuning larger amounts. So that's good. The the stability of that is great. I've had a couple of tuning issues, but that got taken away as I stretched the guitar strings out. The G string, as is typical, tends to go out of tune the most, but the guitar stays in great tune as well. I get a little bit of a vibration from the Tune-o-matic bridge here, but I know that's typical with a lot of guitars that have that style bridge. The resonance isn't that loud compared to my Epiphone Casino over here, but it does have more resonance than your typical solid body guitar. And overall, there's not a lot to complain about this guitar. And at the price point, I really do think that if you were to get this versus a Gibson ES335, there's so much you could choose to do to make it more competitive. But I think out of the box, it comes almost just as good as anything I've ever played from Gibson. It's a great blues guitar, but it can handle, with these P90s in here, it can handle pretty much anything you throw at it. And if you want to upgrade these pickups to something a little bit less high output, or put a humbucker in here that is higher and heavier, something from bare knuckle. I'm looking at putting the Mississippi Queen in here. I like the Fat Cats, but I want something that is a little more geared towards the specific style of music that I intend to play with this guitar. There's not a lot to say other than I recommend this guitar wholeheartedly. And after the last review I did where I had a little bit to say about Chapman's QC process, I think they could take a page out of the book that Eastman has put together. Because this thing, for the price, the specs on it are incredible, and the way it plays and feels is also just incredible. And again, I have to give a shout out to the guys at Sunrise Guitars for sending me something in such good condition and put together so well. They sent me a message as soon as I bought the guitar on Reverb and said that they would be getting it out to me the following week because they wanted their tech to come in and do a full setup on the guitar. And, that's an $80 job at most places around here. And if you do it right, that's a $100 to $200 job. And it is just set up perfectly. It came with a hard shell Eastman case that's fitted to the guitar. Everything about it is exactly what you want at that price. And I honestly would say it is everything you would want at any price point that you would pay. I think there's a law of diminishing returns when it comes to guitars. And when you get past $2,000, that law really starts to come into effect. But this guitar can compete with every other guitar that I have that costs more than it. And I think that Eastman is probably the best kept secret in the guitar world. And I wholeheartedly recommend that people go and check them out, pick up this guitar. So I appreciate y'all watching. I'm looking forward to putting more stuff out there for you. Please like and subscribe here and here. And I look forward to seeing you guys more over the next couple weeks and seeing what you have to say about what I'm putting out there. And I'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.